Guess where it's still kind of hot outside? That's right, here. And yes, the generator is buzzing away in the background. But welcome back to the basement of the bus, otherwise known as the inverter bay. Well, at least this section of it. Today we're going to be working on replacing the ventilation blower that I have in here. We installed it, well, we swapped it out for one last summer, but we're not getting enough airflow through this thing. And eventually when I do move out of this thing, I will need to be able to have airflow moving through it, because it's like an oven. It doesn't need to be air conditioned if I'm not in here, but we need to have enough air moving through so that it's not 120 degrees in there. So I've got all my tools and stuff here with me, and we've got all of the appropriate tools we need, including coffee. Let's have a look at the current setup and what we're going to be doing. So right now we have this little guy right here. This is a 4-inch, supposedly 95 CFM blower or something like that. And it runs up here to this floor register. Obviously having a loop in here restricts airflow, but I wanted to make sure that anything got dropped down in here wouldn't make its way to the fan. Plus, it's a nice lazy way to do it. But you can see how big that thing is, not super big. Here is what we are going to be installing. This is a 6-inch, like 500 CFM blower. This thing runs on 24 volts DC, and as you can see, has much larger air capacity than that little guy that's back up in there. Because this is 4-inch ducting, we're gonna have to replace this register box. I wasn't quite sure how I was gonna do it, so I got a couple different ones here. The minimum size you can have with a 6-inch inlet is 10-inch by 4-inch. The one that's in here currently is 10-inch by 3-inch, so I'll have to trim the floor just a tiny bit, but that's not too big of a deal. So I'm going to uninstall what's in there, then we're going to try and figure out which of these two will work better. Also, I'm going to be redirecting the inlet to this thing to all the way back there somewhere on the other side of the bus. I've got some ventilation holes over there to pull fresh air in. Because this right here, oh, just for size reference, here's 4-inch versus 6-inch. So we're going to be upgrading a little bit. But this here is the outlet from the air conditioner inside. And while it is insulated with some jeans and towels and stuff like that, this still gets kind of hot right here. So I'd like to keep all of this far away and have the intake over there. Also, I never got to putting a screen on the inlet. So as you can see, that will just suck up bugs and dirt and pigeons and whatever else happens to get in here. That is the plan. I'm just going to film little bits here and there as I complete different steps. Because while it is hot out here, it's not too bad in the shade, but I just need to get this thing done by tonight. So anyways, let's do some stuff. We're gonna save this for later because I need to be careful. We have live connections here, but, well, live at battery voltage, but we're gonna be repurposing this old blower for some heat dispersion in other areas. So, yeah, we're gonna be keeping that. Don't remember how I attached this to the floor. Let's see here. Oh, there's screws. How convenient. Maybe it'd behoove me to put some cardboard or something over these giant battery cable connections right here or something. There we go, that's easier. Yeah, so the new one's, oop, danger. The new one's gonna be an inch wider. As you can see, we have a hole to the outside and also down below there. So what we need to do is trim this hole so that, out of the way, power cord. Trim it so it's about an inch deeper than it is currently. I think you can see right there, and we'll be good to go. We've got this thing, should work for that. How does that song go? One of these things is not like the others. Yeah. The nice thing about this blower is the middle section comes out of it, and that allows you to mount this part with your mounting screws up here and kind of figure out where you want it. But also, in case we get it in there backwards, we can put the blower part in there the other way around. I'm pretty sure I remember which end the outlet is. I'm pretty sure it's this side, but just in case, we can flip it around. Now that we've got that all mounted in there, we can get this thing up into the hole, and then I can go inside and bolt it down. The outlet is right there. I think we're just going to do a gentle U shape between these two right here, and that should work. You may have noticed though our inlet is over here. I do have some more ducting though, and I'm going to pull it down and around and way off that way, because if we pull from right here, the hot air coming off of this thing, I mean just radiating a little bit, is going to heat everything up. So that's the plan. By the way, that fan back there, I turned that on while I was cutting to kind of minimize the amount of sawdust that went on top of everything, but we'll still have to vacuum up a bit of this. What is it with people that don't understand what no trespassing signs mean? Well, we've got the register box loosely fastened in place up here. Turns out it's a little bit bent, but what do you expect from Home Depot? So we're just gonna have to connect. We're gonna move this electrical feed over, and we're just gonna go whoop right into the other one, I think. Probably don't need this crazy insulated stuff. Got a bunch of this. Well, anyways, we'll figure out which one to use. Okay, quick function check. So we've got our box coming in here. You can see it's a little bit crooked. I'm gonna have to like bend that, but we have our tube connected down below. This thing came with this 24-volt 5-amp power supply. I'm gonna run it off of the batteries in here, but just for now, for testing purposes, let's see what happens when we turn it on. I'm gonna plug this in one-handed. There it is on high. Oh yeah, that is a lot of airflow. There's a temperature and humidity probe that connects to this as well. Seeing as how we have this ramp coming in here, all the air is kind of like blowing that way, but I wanted to make this a little bit taller so that I could put some 1x around here. I don't really care about trimming it out, but it'll give me a better way to attach it maybe. But I'm gonna fill up everything around here like I did on the previous one, and then we'll probably put a register vent on top of it, or at least a wire mesh or something like that. But yeah, even on low, this thing is way more powerful than the old one was. Oh yeah, that is nice. That'll do, pig, that'll do. Well, some amount of time later, we have this thing installed now. It's really dark colored, so it's hard to see, but here we have the blower. It's actually running right now on about half power. My intake duct was not nearly as long as I thought it was gonna be. So I'm gonna have to extend that to get it all the way over there, and also get some sort of screen for the end of it. But this tucked up right here, we've got our intake tube coming over here to this thing. That goes up in there nice. Caution, there's sharp edges. And we've got another fan right there. That thing's been there for a while, just in case all this stuff gets hot and we need to cool it down. But for now, I need to bring the vacuum cleaner down here and vacuum up some of the sawdust and stuff that's everywhere. Cleaned up a little bit of this wiring. There's some of this is temporary, like this drain tube here for the sink. Well, the sink. And then this is power left over from the old 24-volt blower. Right now, this thing is just running off of the grid. Probably what I'm gonna do is take this 24-volt input here, and we'll power the whole system off of that, because it's unnecessary to step up to 120 volts to go back down to 24. I think I'm gonna clean up the tools and call this a night. I plan on using this old blower to kind of ventilate some of this air. I got this little guy here. It's kind of a 4-inch thing with a grate on it. I couldn't find one of these for 6-inch, but I'm probably gonna punch a hole down there somewhere, mount the blower in, and then we'll be able to take some of the hot air that's generated from this and also the inverter and everything else and exhaust it out down here. That way we can keep cool air coming in from the passenger side of the bus, coming across here, and then down and out this side. Because the AC vents down through here anyways, kind of down on the ground. I still gotta mount the controller and stuff inside, but whatever. We'll do that later. This is America. There's always tomorrow. I think it's the next day now. I just went and hung out in a laundromat that was air conditioned for a while, so that was nice. Costs a little bit more, but it's worth it for some AC. Yes, we're back on the floor. Time for some more wiring. Here is the controller for the new blower we installed yesterday, and it came with this ginormous power brick that's 24 volts at 5 amps. Kind of amazing that it runs on 24 volts though, because we have a whole low voltage power distribution system here. So I grabbed a DC barrel jack connector that I have, and we are going to wire this up to the 24 volts of all this. The previous blower that we had originally was from, well, this was probably over a year and a half ago. Man, I've lived in this thing forever. But anyways, this bus has these sort of overhead panels. Well, not right there, but there we go, like those. Like airplanes have, with lights and airflow and stuff. And there was a couple of big blowers up there. I'm never gonna use those, so I repurposed one for this thing. Didn't work very well. We swapped out to another blower that kind of worked. I was trying to save money, blah, blah, blah. Now we've got a proper one in here. So anyways, luckily this thing runs on 24 volts. I'm wondering though, since the system can go up to 29 volts when it's charging, I wonder if that's gonna be too much voltage for this thing. Well, I bought it from Amazon, so if there is some sort of issue, I guess we'll know. And we can install a power regulator if we want. But the old blower works on this wire right here, which you can't see because it's in the shadow. But we're going to pull that wire off. It's already wired up to one of our relay boards here that is set up with Home Assistant. So this should be pretty simple-ish. Interesting note also, this blower uses a computer-style Molex connector, and this controller can handle 2 of them. But yeah, that's a straight-up power, like, CD-ROM hard drive connector from back in the day. So we just need to mount this thing somewhere. Wonder if that would be a good spot. Although wires are coming out the bottom. I'm not really gonna need to access this thing too much. I mean, actually right there could possibly work. Of course, then there's gonna be wires dangling. Anyways, I'm gonna figure out where to put this, and then I will show you the progress. Oh, and the Home Depot register box, of course, is all warped and weird. I kind of got it sealed up a little bit with some black hot glue. I do still need to get a cover for it. This is razor sharp. But yeah, cutting out the floor another inch was fine. Still got plenty of space down here. Alrighty, fast forward some amount of time, and we have, hang on, let me turn on my wheelchair lights. That didn't really help too much. But we've got our controller mounted up here. We've got the temperature and humidity sensor, the power input, and our fan output. And those run along these wires here and run along these ones here. And now we've got our temperature sensor here. I think I'm going to stick that down below so we know what the incoming air temperature is and humidity. Lots of wire for that. Then, what else we got here? This is our power wire. I've pulled off that previous like circuit that went down below. Actually, just cut that off right here. I'm probably gonna pull that wire out and reuse that because that'll be handy. So I'm gonna trim this down. I think we're gonna use the knockoff Wago connectors on this, simply because I don't know if I'm gonna be changing this or what's going on. Our fan output wire was extremely long, so I kind of wound that up and stuffed it there. This, I think I'm gonna pull this out of here. So this is a temporary wire that I just stuck in that comes up to right here. And we've got this sink thing, which again, I haven't gotten the kitchen finished yet, which is going back there. So this is just so the dishwasher can work. And there's an electric pump up there that connects to this. So when I want to drain this, I just plug this in right here. But this wire's kind of ugly, so I'm probably just gonna pull this out. I don't know, whatever. Anyways, we're making progress. I have to hop back in my chair and grab some of those Wago connectors. Again, this is only 24 volts and like, it's rated at 5 amps, but that also is controlling 2 fans. So I'm pretty sure we're never gonna see more than like 3 amps through this, which is the perfect application for those dumb little connectors. So let me go grab those real quick. I've got a terrible OCD problem. I was not able to use those Wago connectors. Actually, it's pronounced Vago. Turns out I've got a whole bunch of these terminal blocks, so I just installed one of these. Isn't that a lot nicer? Also, having connection blocks in an area like this is super handy. So anyways, that's all connected now. I think we're ready to hit the button and test this and see if the smoke gets let out. It's wired up to this relay right here, so let me hit the button and let's see what happens. Hey, we have a beep. All right, that's good. Turn it on. Okay, it should start ramping up here. Maybe. There we go. Got the blinking thing. And our fan is running. Let's turn it up all the way. All right, seems to work. All right, cool. Let's put it on 2. Now this thing claims to have persistent memory. That's weird. Why is this not showing up? I think our temperature and humidity sensor might be screwed up. I did notice a few times when I was playing around with this that when I moved the wire, this would stop working. But regardless, we've got it on 2, so let's cut the power and see if it remembers our position. Okay, so that turned off. Turn it back on. And there we go. Seems to have remembered. Cool. It's a little bit annoying that this thing is not working though. Oh, there we go. Yeah, I think it is just this connection point here. It's just like a TRRS cable. Just kind of weird for this sort of thing, but yeah, whatever. Anyways, it seems to work, and we have memory. So yeah, there we go. Just gotta get this thing run, and I think we should be good. But yeah, I really like terminal blocks. They're just super handy. I was looking through my box of stuff and realized I had a whole bunch of them. So anyways, yeah, I'm gonna kind of clean this up a little bit and get stuff everywhere. I do believe we are finished. Ignore this green extension cord down here. That's coming up from the generator, which is running the air conditioner. But we've got, yeah, we got this thing on here. We got our temperature sensor mounted down in there. I notched the edge here a little bit so the wire can go through. I need to put some sort of louvers on there. I haven't, I haven't quite figured out how I want to do that yet, because obviously we will get drafting with this just open like it is. I think everything's all tidied up and good to go. I got rid of that stupid wire that I didn't want. Yeah. Well, there we go. It's a thing. It's the next day yet again. Quick update. Remember how I mentioned that I wasn't sure if the 29 volts that the batteries can be at in the bus while they're charging would be an issue with this thing? See how the power back is laying on the ground there and it's connected to our blower fan? Well, as it turns out, when the batteries are charging and they get up above around 27 volts, that thing doesn't work anymore, because 29 volts is more than 24 volts and that thing just cuts out. Luckily, our overlords on Amazon have a solution, and it was only $24. I ordered a, what did they call it? It had a really weird title. Keywords are everything when it comes to buying stuff on Amazon. It's a DC to DC stabilizer, 9 to 36 volts to 24 volt buck boost converter power supply, 5 amp, 120 watt voltage watt. Okay, anyways, the words go on for a while, but it's basically a buck boost converter that always outputs 24 volts. So we're gonna connect that thing up. It's good for up to 5 amps. I haven't actually measured the power draw on this, but I'm assuming it's definitely less than 5 amps. Seeing as how that is a 5 amp power supply and it's designed to run 2 fans and we're only running 1. So, yay. Oh hey, it's another day yet again. It's about 100 degrees out here right now. Lift blower has been working all right. Or the new, not blower, what am I trying to say? The blower we installed has been working great. I ordered a power stabilizer. I just printed it out here. It's 25 bucks for a 5 amp one. But yeah, DC to DC stabilizer is the keywords you want to look for. It basically has a fixed 24 volt output and will boost or buck as necessary to keep the voltage at that. Input rating is 9 to 36 volts, but in our case, it's only going to be bucking voltage or reducing it. Anyways, I figured we'd come out here, open up this hatch, and take a look at some temperatures with the thermal camera phone. And for anyone that's been wondering, yes, this cooling vest works outstandingly. It's the only reason I'm able to be outside right now. Although really, in the shade isn't too bad. Once you get into the sun, it's kind of nuts. We're having another 1-day mini heat wave. But anyways, let's pop the hatch. What's that? Pop the hatch, Candyman. Let's get some temperature readings in here and see what's going on. I wanted to try this afternoon, seeing as how it's so hot. I just want to leave this popped so we get a little bit of heat coming out of here. Actually, I can already feel it. And that'll kind of help ventilate some stuff. Groan, it says. But for right now, I'm just using the grid power brick. Oh, my polarized glasses don't allow me to see this screen. It's a problem with vertically polarized lenses. Let's have a look-see around in here and see what we got. Actually, I can record video with this. I'm going to start recording video with this thing, and I'm going to keep talking into the camera because the audio on this phone is horrible. So we've got, actually, our exhaust temp on the air conditioner is not too bad. We're getting about, I mean, granted it is reflective, but looks like about 115 degrees or something like that, except for where it's not insulated, and that's about 130. So we're definitely running that AC pretty hard. Let's look at our battery connections here. We're actually not running the inverter at the moment, but yeah, everything's pretty much outside temperature in here. And got the fan going there. That's going up to our intake for the air conditioner. Looks like, yeah, everything's outside temperature in here, so that's not too bad really. The inverter is a little bit warmer. It looks a lot hotter on the thermal camera than it actually is, but let's look at our chargers over here. So yeah, grid charger, only 106. Solar's doing pretty good. Even the heatsink on the back's fine. So anyways, yeah, everything down here seems to be working fine, looking good. I like to check all my battery connections and stuff when we're using the inverter and all that, just to make sure everything's copacetic. I don't know, words. I think we're fine. Like the ground right here is like 100 degrees. Let's look at the bark dust in the sun just for fun. Ooh, 145. Oh, it's warm over there. Anyways, just for no reason, we're gonna leave this thing partially open. Oh wait, I forgot. The hinge mechanism blocks airflow, so it'd only be coming from the side. Yeah, I don't think there's any reason to do this. I'm just gonna close it back up. There we go. But yeah, it's oh, we're up to 100 and I saw it peak at 157 there on the bark dust. Oh, 161. The sun is very powerful. It's being all macho, like it's supporting life on Earth or something. But then sometimes it just goes crazy. By the way, I wound up bringing the big generator back out here. That's the one that's mounted to the power chair base. Let me back up so it's a little quieter. But I wound up bringing that thing out here because it's easier to lift. Oh, I forgot, there's news. So I now officially have a place to live, or I will in about a week. I got an apartment. It's owned by a friend, the whole building is, and it has air conditioning, a couple of bedrooms, tons of space. So yeah, in about a week or so when the turnover repairs are done, there's some sheetrock that needed replacing in the bathroom, and I'm having them do a couple of little accessibility mods that are pretty small, like removing a door, reversing one of them, and pulling out some door casings and whatnot. But we finally have a place to live. So only have to endure about another week or so of this heat until that work is done. Like I said, not selling the bus. I'm gonna hang on to this. It's gonna be great for road trips and also as a backup living space. Because as we have learned over the years, things tend to happen and sometimes you need to leave. So this will be good for that. So yeah, cooling vest works great, lasts about 2 to 3 hours. We've got a blower in here now. I've run it overnight for a couple of nights. That 500 CFM really cools the inside of the bus. Oh, I did find like a rodent guard or a screen grill to put on the end of that 6-inch intake, so that's good. And yeah, I think I'm gonna go back inside though, because it is still cooler in there than it is out here. So anyways, thanks for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed.